there is a big franchise with their latest movie with Mark here.
Yeah, with the emphasis on the franchise. F for Fast, F for Furious, F for franchise, and N for nine. I mean, it is, obviously this started out as a street racing thing 20 years ago. Now it's sort of this Mission Impossible style spies and heists thing. So far, the Fast saga, the Fast franchise, has taken over $6 billion worldwide. The Hobbs and Shaw spin-offs, standalones, TV series, at least three more movies on the cards. So Fast and Furious 9, or F9 as it's known for short, does the usual trick of pretending to be about family, but actually being about cars and explosions. I mean, it's funny when people say, the whole thing about Fast and Furious is not really about cars, it's about family. Go, no, this is a film in which it is about the shark. It is about the cars and explosions. And just the fact that Vin Diesel every now and then says, family is everything. So there's a sibling rivalry between Vin Diesel and John Cena. They were troubled brothers, we discover, who were torn apart by a family tragedy, and their lives took very different directions. One of them went on to become Vin Diesel, and the other one went on to become John Cena, whose character has basically decided that because he could never live up to his brother, that the only way he can kind of escape from his shadow is to become Dr. Evil, and to take over the world with there's two halves of a dome that he needs the two bits to be put together, because then they can take over all the electronic systems of all the world and therefore control all the it's that story. Okay,
It's the dome story.
I've got
it's like The Simpsons again.
It's the dome story. That's right. Yeah, I've got that. I need the other bit, but smaller than the Simpsons dome. I got that bit. I got that bit. I got to put them together, and then that's the story. So in order to stop him doing that, well, they have to drive fast and furiously whilst talking about family, and they must do this in loads of different places. So at one point there's London, and then there's Edinburgh, and then there's a bit in Tokyo, but I'm not sure where that's actually shot, and there's Tbilisi, and then there's a bit in space. They literally, there is a bit in space. This isn't a plot spoiler, incidentally. There's been quite a lot of stuff about the fact that there is a bit in space, and the space thing involves cars and rockets. Here's a clip.
Hey, fellas, y'all seen 10-second cars? Well, say hello to the 2-second car.
Is that a Pontiac Fiero strapped to a rocket engine?
Impressive. I know.
No, that's not impressive.
Yeah, so it's a car strapped to a rocket. You do the maths.
Well, can I just say before you I'm thinking Moonraker now. I'm thinking as soon as a franchise is going into space, they run out of ideas. Come on.
Yeah, and also the minute you think of Moonraker, what you actually think of is Austin Powers. Was the huge bit thing in Austin Powers, which is the gag about the Moonraker opening. I mean, in its defense, the movie, there's a certain amount of self-referentiality about that stuff, that it's ludicrous, and they kind of know it's ludicrous. There is an ongoing joke about one of the characters who said, "Have you noticed that all this stuff happens to us and we never get scratched? We're invincible. We're actually..." So there's a kind of meta textual gag about how preposterous the whole sort of thing has got, and so here's the thing. There are loads and loads of actions. They appear to defy all the laws of physics, and they make no sense whatsoever. Right on from early on, there's a bit when Vin Diesel manages to swing a car across a huge big canyon on the end of a piece of string. And I'm not making that up. And then there's, cars being picked up midair by planes, not in a sort of James Bond way, but in a kind of James Bond invisible car kind of way. I mean, you remember the groan when the invisible... Fine, okay, well, it's like every stunt makes the invisible car from James Bond seem like pretty much the most sensible thing you've ever heard. And the problem with that is that, I know that the action is meant to be sort of fantastical and ridiculous and all the rest of it, but there is no jeopardy. There is no... If you can, flip a car across a canyon on the end of a piece of string, and there's all this stuff with massive electromagnets, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and characters who were dead are not dead anymore, it's okay. So fine. There's no jeopardy. There's nothing. It's just stuff happening. And yes, you can make kind of self-referential gags about that, but it doesn't change the fact that the action is either funny or dull, but it's never gripping or, genuinely exciting. And so that's why, to give it kind of heft, they just keep coming back to Vin Diesel going, family. My family. That's because that's the thing he does. And then he has that one facial expression that he does, which, is the thing that he does. He's on the show next week, incidentally. We're not, so it'll be interesting to see whether they raise this. Then there's just a bunch of cameos, and then there's an end credits teaser, and then there's, it is an extravagantly stupid collection of bits. Some of the bits are funny, and some of the bits are, okay, but the problem with it is, and also, as I've always said before with the other thing, everyone who isn't in the core cast is utterly dispensable. I mean, the entire towns get completely trashed and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, that just pulled a car through that office, that would have taken out 3 or 4. That's at least 4 dead people whose names we never. But no, it exists in a world in which everyone else is a Sims character. Nobody else exists. So it exists in a completely non-existent, hypothetical world with stunts that have no relation to the real world, and then Vin Diesel going, family. There will be many more. $6 billion don't lie. It's all right. I mean, I was kind of moderately entertained for some of it. That'll go on the poster.